CNN has been told that this was, in fact, a decapitation strike aimed at killing or, at the very least, sending a powerful message to Saddam Hussein. This strike, which was employed cruise missiles and F-117 stealth fighters over Baghdad, was targeting a location where it was believed Saddam Hussein and other Iraqi leadership were located. Now, this kind of intelligence is always somewhat problematic, and the U.S. military is well aware that this kind of a strike using cruise missiles and precision-guided bombs from the air has a low probability of success in targeting an individual. But nevertheless, apparently there was enough intelligence for the United States to attempt a decapitation strike to take out Saddam Hussein even before the war began. This is not the beginning of the war, according to a U.S. official telling CNN, but in fact it was a target of opportunity that the U.S. felt it could not pass up. The intelligence would not last long enough for them to wait for the scheduled start of the war. Aaron, very dramatic information here, and of course now we want to know the results of this strike, and at this point we have no idea.
And that may take some time to know, but again, as Jamie reported, it appears to be an attack or a leadership bunker or a place where perhaps Saddam Hussein was, perhaps he and the government of Iraq were hiding out, trying to stay safe, attacked by cruise missiles. The United States government, the United States military has done this sort of thing before with less success. It's not an easy thing to do, and we won't know for some time if it was successful, maybe a long time. Nick, what are you hearing in Baghdad? Nick Robertson.
Aaron, the anti-aircraft gunfire picking up again at this time. Very interesting that the target of opportunity struck apparently President Saddam Hussein, possibly somewhere he was believed to be. One remembers only a few hours ago when the rumor circulated that Deputy Prime Minister Tariq Aziz might have been killed or defected. Iraq was very swift, within half an hour putting Tariq Aziz on international television, so that everyone could see, not only in Iraq but around the world, that this rumor wasn't true. Possibly an indication here, President Saddam Hussein may himself seek to disprove any rumor or any indication or any thought amongst his followers that this strike may have been successful. He may choose to do as he did in the day the Gulf War started in 1991. Then he chose to speak on Iraqi television. That is something we may see later today. Certainly, for now, the anti-aircraft gunfire here is sporadic. It appears to be not coming from the...
For some weeks, for a moment that is about to unfold, that much is clear. Walt Rogers is one of the many CNN correspondents who is, and you'll hear this term a lot, embedded with these units. He has been with them, lived with them, and will travel with them and report on them. And Walt Rogers joins us now from the desert in Kuwait. Walt?
Hello, Aaron. I think what we can say at this point is that the U.S. Army, and particularly the 7th Cavalry, is tugging at the leash to be released. But this, again, as the president said, was a selective strike. The Army is still sitting in northern Kuwait. It has not been ordered into southern Iraq yet. That's the situation we find ourselves in. This unit, the 7th Cavalry, which is the scouting unit, can move very, very quickly. But again, the Army remains in Kuwait. It has not been ordered into Iraq. What the president ordered was a selective air strike. Joining me now is the Apache Troop Commander, Captain Clay Lyle, 7th Cavalry. Captain Lyle, we're sitting here waiting. Do you have any indication what your orders are going to be and when? What happens when you get the order to go? Begin by telling us that.
Currently, none of my orders have changed. We have been and we remain ready. The soldiers' morale is high. We are well trained and equipped, and this is news to me. I know the president will act in our best interest, as well as all my higher commanders.
Last night, the CO of this unit, Lieutenant Colonel Farrell, was telling the soldiers to expect to fight. How do you see the battle unfolding from your point of view?
We've looked at the threat in that country from all the different elements that are there, have been in place to do with the regime, and we just we're prepared to deal with whatever we come up, wherever we encounter, to try to handle the situation, but try to view ourselves liberating the people of Iraq and trying to remove that regime not invading Iraq, not fighting the people of Iraq.
How powerful a military force is the U.S. Army going to throw at the Iraqis once the order comes to charge?
I'm sure our superiors and the president will use everything at his disposal to ensure our safety.
No, but I'm talking about the Army. Tell us about the Army. How much punch does this Army have?
My troop, this squadron, the 3rd Infantry Division, have the best equipment in the world. We were trained. We've been here in the country training and acclimatizing for quite a while now. The M1A1 tank and the Bradley, Apaches, and Kiowa Warrior helicopters. We're ready, and we can deal with whatever threat we encounter.
And what sort of resistance do you expect once you cross the border?
It's hard to tell how the individual Iraqi soldier, when he encounters American forces, the decision he'll make. I hope he makes the right decision and surrenders to the nearest American soldier.
Captain Clay Lyle, the commander of Apache Troop, U.S. 7th Cavalry, saying still not sure what the Army will face once it crosses the border. Again, the dogs of war have not been unleashed down here yet, but the 7th Cavalry is ready. Aaron?
Thank you, Walt Rogers, and we'll be back to you. Jamie McIntyre at the Pentagon. You're able to continue doing some reporting here, picking up pieces. What do you have?
We're slowly piecing it together, Aaron. We now know that this strike was carried out by more than a dozen or 2 dozen cruise missiles fired from ships both in the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. So those cruise missiles came at Baghdad from 2 different directions. In addition, F-117 stealth fighters, which can each carry 2 satellite-guided bombs, were also involved in this strike, which sources tell CNN was in fact a decapitation attempt. That is an attempt to take out Iraqi President Saddam Hussein and some of his leadership at a location where U.S. intelligence indicated he may have been. Now, this kind of a strike from the air aimed at an individual on the ground has a very low probability of success because it's difficult to hit, to kill somebody on the ground. It's also entirely possible somebody could move in the time between the planes take off. But apparently it was felt that this was a target of opportunity that could not be passed up. Saddam Hussein did not avail himself of the 48-hour window to seek exile in another country, and at that point the U.S. believed he was fair game. Obviously, if the United States military did take out or could take out Saddam Hussein before any shots were fired, that would greatly decrease the chance of bloodshed, of casualties, and certainly increase the chance the Iraqi military would fold, particularly the Republican Guard. It's always been believed that Saddam Hussein, his rule by fear is what's really keeping his military fighting at all. So I'm assuming here that the thinking was it was worth a shot. If they had intelligence, they could possibly take him out, they'd go ahead and try. But again, this is a limited strike aimed at a leadership target of opportunity, and at this point, the full-blown war, the so-called shock and awe with thousands of cruise missiles and bombs, has not yet taken place and may not take place for another day or so. Aaron?
Is that right, that we may be still a day or more away from this unfolding in the president's terms a broad way?
Well, think about it, because first of all, you need to find out the success of this mission. If it turns out that Saddam Hussein is dead or he doesn't appear anywhere, that could completely change how this war would unfold. It could turn it into a peaceful intervention. It could certainly break the back of the will of the Iraqi army to fight. So the key point now for the next 24 hours is to figure out what happened.
General Clark,